What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sports Arena. I'm your man, Eric Wilson, of course, on a Monday night. It is September 11th, and we will never forget what happened 22 years ago on that day. We will honor that at the end of our show here tonight. But as always, we got a lot to talk about. So much so that I will say that the most of the crew is in the building tonight. You already know my co-host right here, my man, the sports reporter without pay, Ray Lynn, is in the building. I've got the man of 16 years, ASU Forks Up, Sun Devil, and the man that I have to unfortunately listen to this evening, but he brought a special guest with him. She is back in the building with us, the Queen of Hoops, and they both wearing cowboy gear tonight because I knew this was coming. And last but not least, the man who I said 2 years ago was the president of the Tua Tagovailoa fan club. Well, he is definitely living
Right
up
here.
to that. My man
Right
John
here.
Shear
That's
is
right,
in the
baby.
building. So first off, good evening to everybody. How is everybody doing? What I will say to start the show is everybody on this screen was a winner this week. So
Except the
that is the
Eagles.
one saving grace that I can take from this.
I mean,
That's about
everybody,
all.
everybody didn't win to pick them. Not
No,
everybody.
no. I meant their respective football team
I just
won
wanted to throw that out
this
there.
week. But
Only
yes,
one person
It's
won.
but yes,
early,
ladies
Raylan.
and
It's
gentlemen,
early.
yes, right
Hey, only
here, that
one
man,
person won to pick them. That's all I
yes,
know.
Yeah,
that
and
man, the
he could have
sports
had a
reporter
game
without
winner. He
pay.
would have had faith in his team.
Hey, man, I call it like I see it.
He won. He set the tone with his Detroit Lions beating Kansas City on Thursday night, so much so that he did win the weekly pick'ems, and he will bestow the crown for this week. But let's get into these topics tonight because we got four. We got a special guest joining us here in the second half of the show tonight. But like I said earlier in my public service announcement, this might be the show that this is the only part you hear me talk tonight because I got to sit and listen to this right here. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the New York Football Giants Sunday night NFC East rivalry, MetLife Stadium. I mean, Mike, Megan, this is y'all's team. But before I shut up, I gotta say this. I need one moment really quick. One moment with one man. I'll be right back. Hold on, everybody. I need this man on the screen because I got something I need to say to you, sir. You, Michael Carrot-Tenuto. You
What?
and I need to have a conversation.
All right.
Mike, I said when we did the NFC East preseason predictions, I said Dallas does not have a wide receiving core.
You
Can you
did.
tell me how many times Dak Prescott threw to CD Lamb last night? Don't worry, I'll answer it for you. 4 times.
Yeah.
4, 77 yards, 19.3. Do you know who he threw more to than CD Lamb? Oh, yeah, that would be your tight end, Mr. Ferguson. Targeted him 7 times, Mike. Granted, only 2 receptions for 11 yards. Yo, other wide receivers, that would be Brandon Cooks, that would be Gallup, Turnip, Hendershot, Tolbert, combined, Mike. Combined. Hold on, let me see this. 4, 3, 2, 11. 11.
Right.
Mike, you don't have a wide receiving.
But
Just
wait, no.
kidding.
Let me answer. Both Brandon Cook's catches were huge, and they were first downs, and he was going across the middle.
His name is Turpin.
Whatever.
It's all right. Hey, it's all right, Megan. Let him have his moment. It's all right. I just put that out there. I had a message, Cortland. I didn't want to leave you out, so that's fine.
Anyhow, y'all can talk about the game now. I will be quiet, but I just had to get that out the way because it pains me to say congratulations, Megan. I can say congratulations to you. Okay. Yes, congratulations. I can say that.
Also, Texas. I want to start the show off by saying first, Texas, baby, we're back, and 2, how about them
Congratulations.
Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? It is good for America when Alabama loses, especially
great.
in Tuscaloosa. So, as far as the Cowboys go, this was not a measuring stick game. Going into this weekend, coming up weekend, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, then I will use that game as a measuring stick of how I really feel about my team. It's obvious, excuse me, that the Giants spent all their money on their quarterback, which I mean, that contract was set by the market. But it leaves something to be said for the way that Tom Brady handled his career. He constantly took pay cuts, spread the money around. He had weapons, he had protection. Same thing, similar, not the same sport, but similar things. That's the way it happens in San Antonio. They always spread the money around. They take pay cuts, and they try to get the most talent possible, and to share it in order to be the most successful. So obviously, he has no protection. That right tackle over there was only blocking raindrops. He did not block anything for Daniel Jones. And then their defense was atrocious as well. Our defense was as advertised. It Last season we finished 24th or 23rd in rush defense. Seems that we handled some of those problems. Obviously, our pass defense was good last season and was extremely dominant in this first game. I would like to see what our offense looks like against a real defense. So we'll see going into these next games. It's a great win, Victory Monday. On to the next game.
See, and that's why I can appreciate you, Megan, because this guy right here, I know he's gonna go into it. So let him have his moment. Just go ahead, Mike. Just go ahead, Mike. Just go.
That's fine. I will go. I'm just gonna say I've been touting their defense since last year. I said to you in our preview, it's Dan Quinn's third year, and I'm not calling them Seattle. Yes, they are a different team, but I will say this: it's the third year of that defense under Dan Quinn. And that hit, I know Trayvon Diggs, everybody says, oh, the interception's big deal. He's always getting toasted. Yeah, okay, when you run 4-3-5 and stuff, you're always getting toasted. That being said, look at the hit that caused the interception. Saquon's like, oh, I got some real estate. And all of a sudden, he gets lit up, interception, touchdown. Third year under Dan Quinn, dude, this defense is going to be straight out balling. My boy, your favorite last name to say, Eric, Odigizua, with not one but two of the 7 sacks. Micah Parsons was all over the place. Signing Gilmore, we talked about that during the preview. Look, you need it in the secondary. It's huge. So, yeah, I'm kind of with Megan. Look, I expected more from the Giants because, Eric, like we always say, a division game. But they couldn't block him. The speed off the ball, I mean, Armstrong's game. DeMarcus Lawrence, everywhere that Micah Parsons went. So, yeah, it's 1 week. I'm not overreacting. The only thing I will, I guess, have an overreaction to is the defense. It's 1 week. It's one win. This defense plays like that. Yeah. Weekly, good luck because they're tracking a lot of
defense
sports.
Is the reason why you will be in games because, Megan, I'm sorry, your baby daddy still ain't the guy that everybody wants him to
future
be.
Ex-husband, future ex-husband.
Your future ex-husband.
No, but he did something that was very, there was a couple of things he didn't do last night. And know why it was important? Throwing picks. He didn't do it. And so while he may not do a whole lot as far as our receiving core, he didn't throw any picks. While that didn't win us the game, this game, down the line, if he can stay on the no picks, that will win us a few ball games. So as long as he's not losing the game for us, I'm good. I don't think we're ever going to see Dak before the injury. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm trying to be realistic, but if he can be a capable game manager with that type of defense, if we can model our team after the Niners and what they have going on, I'll be happy.
Hey, and I'm not even going to rip on Daniel Jones too much what you're saying about Dak, Megan, Eric, come on, man. NFL or not, yes, we talked about talent levels. That torrential downpour, dude, I don't care who you are. Nobody's throwing for big yards in any of that.
Like, I'm not saying the weather didn't play a factor. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying to you, though, is when you look at that game last night, what was the one thing that everybody was talking about this morning? They were talking about Micah Parsons. They were talking about Trayvon Diggs. They were talking about DeMarcus Lawrence. They were talking about the Dallas defense
and our O-line. I feel like our O-line
I can sum your O-line up
in a way.
I can sum your O-line up in 2 words. Zach Martin. Be thankful that you
hold on. Oh, for sure. But here's the thing about Zach Martin and even just the O-line as a whole. One, if Tyron Smith is coming at you like that, he is a beast. Like, I was just so impressed with him. It was almost like, I think this is the best that we've seen our O-line in about 4 to 5 seasons. And I want to say this, even though like Zach Martin was injured last year, he missed a good portion of the games, right? But the games he even played in, he looked like he had lost a step or two. The way he came back this season, yes, thank God we paid him.
Yeah. Maybe
he was playing through injury last season.
If he was not there, I'm telling you right now, as good as Trayvon Smith is, Zach Martin, your offensive line goes as far as he goes. Let me get Ray and John in here to give me their thoughts on this game last night, because I'll be very honest with you, I turned it off at halftime. That's how disgusted I am.
The Eagles were doing it. It would have been on the whole night.
You're damn right it would have been from start to finish, and even then some. Go ahead, Ray. My bad.
I mean, first off, to hell with this game. I want to say that much because it cost me two fantasy leagues. In one fantasy league against Mr. Tyree himself, I lose because Dallas defense put up 37 against me. And then in my other league, I just needed Dak to have an okay game. And when the game was over in the first quarter, I knew Dak wasn't going to put up no numbers. As far as the game itself, I mean, like, it's really, really nothing to talk about. A really good team beat a really bad team. Right? Like, yeah, the Giants made the playoffs last year. But go look, they made it in a way that doesn't happen. Like, they gave up more points than they scored last year. They're not a really good team, right? They're just a very mediocre, middle of the pack team. And the NFC was really weak last year, right? The reigning Super Bowl champs had a down year. Aaron Rodgers for the first time, Green Bay looked mediocre. Like, the whole conference was just, it was sad. So, yeah, the Giants made the playoffs, but they're not a good team. So Dallas beating them wasn't shocking. And then it's one of the things, like, if you didn't watch the game, right? Like, had I turned it on and went, man, Dallas is up 26-zip. Maybe they're going off. No, pick six, block field goal, like all kind of weird stuff happening. When you really look at it, was kind of like the Cincinnati Cleveland game. The weather was bad. The game was sloppy. But every single mistake was on New York side. And Dallas capitalized on every single one, right? Is Dallas better? Absolutely. Are they 40 points better? I don't know, right? Like they can play 100 more times and they won't win 40-0. But like, I'm not shocked at nothing that happened. Like, they took their heart in the first quarter and the game was over.
They took their heart in the first 5-6 minutes of the game and it was over.
The funny thing is, like, New York was driving. If they kick that field goal to make it, it changes the whole it changes everything, right? You go up 3-zip instead of down 7-zip. That's a 10-point swing, right? It's demoralizing. And then once you get down as big as they got down in the first quarter, like, when the defense can just pin their ears back and come after you and everybody knows you're going to – it's already bad weather and you're down and you got to try and throw the ball. It was just a bad combination of things, right? And Dallas defense just put their foot on their throat and didn't let up, and that's what good teams do, right? Like, people be disrespecting Dallas like they – what they win, 13, 14 games last year or something like that?
12.
12, whatever it was, right? And the year before that, they won 13, correct?
12.
Well, whatever. They like, they're a really good team, right? They're a good team. Dallas is like a
regular season team.
Yeah, I hear you, John. Like, you couldn't wait to take a jab at something. I'm simply saying, us as sports analysts,
it's a familiar feeling for a Dolphins fan.
I'm simply saying, like, they're a good team, right? Like, they're
played a real team,
America's team that people love to love or love to hate, right? So every one of their games.
You're right. It is one or the other way. Let me get John in here because I do have a question for John Shear. Even John Shear, you were the one saying, I believe, and please correct me because I might be wrong. It happens here from time to time. But you said, watch what Darren Waller is able to do on this team. Were you not a little high on Darren Waller with the New York Giants, John?
And I don't think
5 targets, 3 receptions, 36 yards.
I don't think he did anything wrong last night. I mean, I thought his routes were really good. I think this was just there's two things. It's clear that the Giants' offensive line cannot handle speed rushes. They can't handle speed. So if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you know what you're going to do when you play the Giants twice a year. When you're the Cowboys and you play them again, you know what you're going to do. The blueprint is out on what the Giants are doing. Saquon didn't run the ball bad last night. I watched that game and I came away from it saying the Giants run big formations. They run a lot of tight ends. It's clear what they're doing when they're doing what they're doing. When they tried their play action stuff in the first quarter against the Cowboys didn't even whiff at it because they were like, we've seen this a million times. The Giants are run the same plays they ran last year. They didn't change their game plan at all from last year when Daniel Jones only threw 15 touchdowns. Like, you have to develop your game plan and change your plays and let Daniel Jones throw the ball. And I understand the weather, but watching their game plan, it's tight formations. that's when Saquon's going to run it. Oh, and then we're going to switch to play action every once in a while. They're not taking any shots. They're not threatening, pushing the ball downfield. And that's why the Cowboys are just sitting on short routes. They're sitting, waiting for Saquon Barkley. Like, Daniel Jones was bad. The offensive line was bad. And it's clear the offensive line can't handle speed. So it's not Darren Waller's fault. It's just the game plan was really, really poor. And the center botching that snap changed the entire game because it was 3rd and short. And like Ray said, they were driving. They were about to score. At 3rd and short in the red zone, the center threw the ball back in the rain, and then Daniel Jones had to dive on it 4th down.
See,
turns
John,
into a blocked field goal.
Time
It
out.
changed the entire
I'm
game.
not going to let you do all that, Eric. Timeout. Because look, did it change the
I'm not
complexion?
taking away from the Cowboys.
The drive
I'm
missed
just-
a field goal. They missed a field goal. But this
They
is my
didn't miss it,
point.
got
The Cowboys
blocked.
hate. It's one game, so I'm not overreacting. The only thing I will say, when you can pack a lunch on the road defensively, it makes a huge difference. So that's
Wait,
fine.
what
Mike,
just
stop.
happened?
Wait,
Crap out of
What
it.
just happened? So he's not allowed to analyze the game and say what happened on
Everything's
the Giants side?
just the fault of the Giants.
Mike,
Everything's the fault of
stop.
the Giants.
That's not
Oh,
what
no,
I'm
no,
doing.
So the Cowboys' defensive game plan was just
Mike,
what, up in the air, Ray?
stop.
They had no defensive game plan, right?
No,
Because
no,
Saquon did
no.
chew them up last year. No,
If
let me
you-
finish. Saquon chewed them up last year a few times. Then in that first game, Saquon chewed them up a little bit. This year, okay, bad weather, you figure they're going to run more. You figure it will slow the defense down. You can analyze all you want. So, yes, the Giants didn't perform at a level to where it's playoff worthy like they went last year. But the defensive game plan was to smack them in the mouth, and they did exactly that.
Where in anything did he say they didn't?
Everything's
Nowhere.
the Giants' fault.
I didn't even
Everything's the
finish.
Giants' fault.
So
My monologue.
Mind you, he's the 4th person to talk about the game. All 3 of us talked about what the Cowboys did well. Why can't he just say what the Giants did bad?
Look, Mike.
You said what the Giants did bad. You said what the Giants did bad.
But those are the only 2 things that happened in the game. The Cowboys did things well, and the Giants did. They didn't do nothing good to talk about. What else are you supposed to say?
Because the defense caused that. No, but
There
the
wasn't
defense
anything
caused that.
exciting
Hold on.
at
I'm
halftime.
confused.
After halftime.
Listen, it
Sweating.
was an ugly game, man. Like, listen, Joe Burrow played
Yes.
worse than Danny Dimes, and nobody's talking about it. Why? It was bad weather. And in playoff preseason, it was in bad weather, quarterbacks aren't going to play well. And in those 2 games, not a single quarterback threw for over 160.
Right.
So, Mike,
Bad weather.
do you know when the last time the Giants beat Dak Prescott?
He's like 12-0 against. He's
His
won the last 12
rookie
against.
year. His rookie year was the last time. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, 11 and 12.
That's why. If I'm a Cowboys fan, if I'm you or Megan, I don't come away from this game and say, yeah, like you guys mentioned earlier, it's Super Bowl time. Like I look at this game and I'm like, yeah, we beat. It's not a knock. I look at this and I say, yeah, we beat a team that is inferior. Like this team, the Giants aren't
Right.
anywhere close to the Cowboys. So there's no litmus test because the Giants are not on your level. You're way better than them. It's just something where you took care of business, but we don't know what your offense is yet because you didn't have to play offense last night. Your defense and your special teams took care of the entire game. So we didn't even get to see Dak Prescott play the 2023 season because he didn't have to.
I have spent the first 17 minutes of this show tonight allowing this to happen. All right. Because it needed to happen. And I am trying to be a better person with regards to respecting Cowboy fans. But we are moving on from this because if I sit here any longer and listen to the talent that exists on that squad, I think I'm going to lose my mind and I may start drinking, and this ain't the sip off. Okay. We got rid of that one. Let us move forward. It went from that. Now let us go to this game. And for this particular game, here is what I'm going to say. Speaking of the Miami Dolphins versus the Los Angeles Chargers. John Shear, I have to admit something to you. All right? Jokingly, again, 2 years ago, I called you the president of the Tua Tagovailoa fan club because I did not know what Tua was about. But I heard something today that made me actually take a step back and say, John Shear was right. If you provide Tua the necessary resources and you get him the weapons, this young man can be a top-level quarterback in the NFL. With the addition of Tyreek Hill, with the addition of Jalen Waddle, and what this team has done, I right now can sit here and say to you, John Shear, I'm not a full-on drinking the Kool-Aid, sign me up to be your VP, but I am impressed with what Miami has done with Tua remaining healthy and being on the field. But I will say that I feel that the Tua Tagovailoa Miami Dolphins and the Justin Herbert LA Chargers is a matchup that we need to see every year based on what I saw yesterday, because I feel like they've been linked since the draft. They will forever be linked. And I think, in my opinion, this could become the new, excuse me, Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning. That matchup that every year we want to see because we know we're going to get something special. That's how I feel. I will defer to you, John, because like I said, this is your team. Congratulations. You pulled out a victory yesterday. Tyreek Hill, listen, can't nobody beat that brother. Find me somebody that can. Don't worry, I'll wait.
So I think it's a little disingenuous to say he needs the resources. If you watch that game-winning touchdown he threw to Tyreek Hill, you'll probably never see a more accurate throw in your entire life. Dropping that ball over top of that defender, right past his helmet, into the breadbasket of Tyreek Hill. That's one of the greatest throws, accuracy-wise, that you're ever going to see in your life. Winning the game on that throw. That throw was insane. So I understand what you're saying, Eric. Having the resources, it helps guys like Jalen Hurts. It helps Tua. Like, it helps these guys, but take nothing away from him. Like, he's making some throws that if he threw that to any one of us, we would have caught that, because he dropped that right in the breadbasket to win the game. So you got to give him his credit, not just say, well, it's because he has the weapons. Some of these throws are just, I mean, you'll never see these throws from almost anybody ever again. Like, you're throwing it through a keyhole. But the defense has got to step up for the Dolphins. Keep in mind, Eric, they did this without their best offensive lineman. The one that they signed to a massive deal a couple years ago, Armstead, he didn't play in this game. So, and two backups had to go up against Bosa and Khalil Mack, and they gave up no sacks, no quarterback hits, some pressures, but he didn't get hit once. So Dolphins offense looks pretty insane on a day where everybody else is, like Joe Burrow is terrible and Daniel Jones is terrible, and all these guys are throwing for 150 yards, and Tua's out here throwing for almost 500 yards. And he's only the sixth quarterback ever to throw 450 yards and 3 touchdowns twice on the road in his career. Only a handful of other guys have done that. Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, Boomer Esiason. So, like, it's only one of a handful to ever do that. Multiple road games of 450 yards and 3+ touchdowns. Just say this guy's legit, man. When he's healthy, like, he's elite. When he's healthy, we have to put him in that category.
I can't put him in elite status yet, John. And my reason for doing that is because we have not seen Tua in postseason. That's why I cannot put.
No, I'm talking about like playing the game of football as a quarterback, regular season. What we've seen, like, he's elite. His throws are elite.
Okay, Ray, you made it very clear when we did the AFC East prediction that Tua healthy is a great quarterback. So I want you to speak on this as well.
I hate having to go after John. I really do, because he just sucked the life out of the whole show, bloviating over. But the crazy thing is, on its surface, what he's saying, he really not lying. And it was going to be my who knew I knew. But since we talking about the Dolphins, like a show or two ago, I hate to say who knew I knew about Tua, because I arrived at this conclusion at the end of last year. John been saying it for 2 years now. But if you look at all these lists that came out about quarterbacks before this season, the kind of disrespect that Tua was getting, I kept telling people, did y'all see what he was doing last year? Like, people acting like he didn't have the number 1 passer rating in the NFL. He didn't have a top 3 QBR. The man was like 7th or 8th in touchdowns, and he missed 4 games. Right? Like, he was just flat out balling when he was on the field. I'm going to see if I can screen share this, Eric. Like, this is the kind of disrespect that Tua was getting. This is CBS's quarterback rankings coming into this year. Can you share that, Eric? Can you make that share on the screen?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Can y'all see that?
Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow,
Hurts,
Jalen Hurts,
Josh Allen.
Oh, we're going to keep going.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Number one, Patrick Mahomes. 2, Joe Burrow.
Jalen Hurts.
3, Jalen Hurts. 4, Josh Allen. 5, Justin Herbert. 6, Aaron Rodgers. 7, Lamar Jackson. 8, Trevor Lawrence.
9, Dak Prescott. 10,
9, Dak Prescott. 10, Deshaun Watson. 11, Kirk Cousins. 12, Brock Purdy. 13, Jared Goff. 14, Geno Smith. 15, Daniel Jones. 16, Justin Fields. 17, Tua Tagovailoa. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Like, again, and I hate to come after John and then have to big up his quarterback. But again, that's just disrespectful. That's disrespectful to the guy who had the number 1 passer rating in the league last year and just was lighting the league. What we saw last night, if you watched him last year, he was doing that all last year.
And Ray, that was off of CBS, right? Those rankings?
Yeah. Brock Purdy and Geno Smith. Brock Purdy,
Daniel
Geno
Jones.
Smith, Daniel Jones.
No, the Daniel Jones one is a massive insult.
Trevor Lawrence, like, dude, come on. Like, listen, I don't know what else he has to do for people to be like, okay, he's legit.
Be healthy.
I said going into last year, when John was going on and on and on and on, and to his credit, John, you can't act like the arrival of Tyreek Hill doesn't help.
Oh, I didn't say it doesn't.
You have to have. I'll let you talk.
I just said give him his.
I don't need your help. I got you. I'm giving him his flowers. I got you. I promise. Right? Like the arrival of Tyreek Hill, you still got to have somebody to give him the ball, and boy, those two are special. They're special. Like we can't say, oh, Tyreek didn't matter and he went for 210 last night. Like he was just blowing past the defense. It looked like Mahomes. Hill. That's what it looked like. It looked like what he was doing in Kansas City. We can't credit Andy Reid. We can't credit Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek Hill is just that good, right? But Tua is looking like an elite quarterback. Again, if you tell me Patrick Mahomes is first, far and away by itself, right? I have zero issue with you going Josh Allen and Burrow, but everybody else, Tua's fair game. And you can make a case he put himself in that conversation with Allen and Burrow, along with Lamar Jackson and Herbert. All those guys, they can fight for second, third, and fourth. And Tua's in that conversation. For a list to have him 17th, that's just crazy.
To have him below Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, I think is insulting. I will put my personal differences aside.
Brock Purdy?
Hold on, I was getting to that. I will put my personal differences aside with regards to Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins does have the numbers. Brock Purdy is a product of the San Francisco system, but I still don't feel he should be as high as he is.
Sunshine is good though.
No, I feel. Well, listen. Let's take Trevor Lawrence at what it is. He had Urban Meyer and then went to Doug Peterson.
Right.
Okay. No disrespect. But that's like going from a podcast that just started and thinking you can be on this show and run with us. Okay. Now, if you throw into our system and you work, congratulations. But go ahead, Ray.
I'm gonna get off the Tua thing. Remember, he got hurt last year against Cincinnati,
yep.
Right? That was the thing that the fans and everything, right? He got hurt in that game. Then he's set for 2 more games, and everybody said, what's he going to be like when he gets on the field again? 60% of his passes, 261 yards, 382 yards and 3 touchdowns on 81%, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns on 70%, 285, 3 touchdowns on 78%. No picks in none of these games. 299, a touchdown, no pick, 61%. 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bro, like, what we doing? Like, he's proved it, man. He's proved it. Like, I'm not going to sit there and keep giving that guy he got to prove it treatment when he's steadily doing it on the field.
He's got it, but the knock on him, and Mike and Megan, I appreciate y'all, but we got to keep it moving. So I apologize for not getting to you guys on this one, but I will say this: the knock on Tua has been his health, because the caveat, the hiccup, the asterisk, if you will, has always been if he can stay healthy. No doubt when he is on the field, Tua, to your what you just read off, Ray, and what you know, that's what Tua does. But the knock on him has been health because of what happened last season.
And,
That is what it's going to
And
be
even coming
until
out of
he
college, Eric, even coming out of Alabama,
right.
same thing.
So
Can I
we got to
add
keep it
something?
moving. We got a special guest in the building, John. I'm gonna give you the final word, 10 seconds, and I got to go to break.
It was the same thing with Jalen Hurts last year. It was a prove it year, and I doubted him, and he proved it to me not only in the regular season, the playoffs, and in the Super Bowl. It was the same thing, and now I don't doubt Jalen Hurts. So that was the same boat for me.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are transitioning to the NBA because we got a special guest in the building because we got a topic that we need to discuss. More with the entire crew. It's Monday night. It's the Sports Arena. Y'all already know. We'll be back in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, there you see it, the 2024 National Scouting Combine, January 8th through the 12th. An amazing time for athletes who truly get their shine and elevate themselves to the next level. Much like, shout out again to my man, Josh Butler, came to the National Scouting Combine, I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago, went to Michigan State as a corner, now plays, he's on the practice squad, but he does play for the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, we got the crew in here. I got the Queen of Hoops here for a little while longer. I got my man, John Shear, in the building. Forks Up ASU Pac-12 preview and pitchfork lunch. Mike Caratanudo, Ball Don't Lie, and my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, Ray Lynn. And we got a special guest in the building. Anytime this brother can show up, man, it is always a privilege and an honor to have Mr. Danny Thompson in the building with us, talking some NBA. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We're going to jump right into this, because this was a conversation that was going on this morning. It started at 9:30 and rolled all the way until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, okay, we got to have this conversation. So when my man Danny Thompson says, what time are we talking about this? And I tell him 10:30, you already know. So came down on Twitter that LeBron James not Twitter, formerly known as. LeBron James plans to commit to Team USA along with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, and Draymond Green. And then separately, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, and Kyrie Irving also have serious interest in committing. Now, this had spawned a conversation about those coming versus those who don't maybe not need to show up. So, Ray, I'm going to let you and Danny run this one, because when the two of you get together, for me, it's just, I just sit back and watch.
But before me and Danny get into it, because I know Megan said she got to go and her and John didn't get to get on. Megan, I'll pull the host card. Megan, so you hear LeBron's talking about playing, right, for Team USA come 2024. Your initial thoughts?
That it takes a loss for LeBron to want to come back to the team. I mean, I get that, like, but also, and I hate that they're already labeling this the redeem team. We did not lose in the Olympics. That is not what happened here. I mean, it just, I don't know. I didn't like the wording of it. But I will say that, like, immediately I was like, all right, okay, so they're going to take this loss serious and start believing in Team USA again. I will say that I do understand, like, hey, contract year, injuries, there's things that go into not playing for Team USA. Like, it's understandable, but it's still a great honor. And, you know, especially when you see the rest of the world is catching up to us, not just in men's basketball, women's basketball as a whole. Because in my opinion, I feel like basketball is the most fluid sport internationally. I mean, because you don't need equipment, a whole lot of equipment to play basketball. So, if you have a poor country, they're still able to play this game in a really cheap manner. So they're starting to catch up to us. The world is starting to catch up to us. Even if we assemble this squad that they have put out, what are we going to do at the center position? There's still size is still an issue. So the squad that we went into the FIBA tournament with is a good team. It just wasn't the best team.
Let me ask this question. Who Mike. Does Team USA need LeBron James?
I mean, if we're going to put him around that talent, if we're talking age, I think that coming off is he a starter? Yes. But I think next year coming off the bench, Ray, I would take that in a heartbeat. So yes, I think you could. I don't know if I'm so much starting him. And I know that sounds crazy, but if all those guys commit, I think you could put together a lineup to where you could see maybe not starting him. But for what he's done on the court leadership wise, and yeah, can he still start? Absolutely. I'm not saying he can't, but I think it'd almost be as powerful coming off the bench and just have, if you don't want to say get 5 starters in rotation, but I think that leadership wise, yes, they could use him if he wasn't to be there. Do I think there's enough guys that should win a gold medal? The names that are down there, the talent that's there. Yeah, but leadership-wise, I'd want LeBron. So I hope it doesn't sound like a me answer, but how would you feel about him coming off the bench?
He's LeBron James. It's some people that just doesn't happen, right? Like if you recall, even years ago when Mike was old and washed and he made the All-Star game and they were the players, it was like, no, like they gave their starting spot. Like it's LeBron James, man. It's like he's worldly not recognized as his players ever, right? So no, I can't see him
like DT not coming off the bench next year. It's not happening. It just is what it is. When you are in the GOAT conversation, you're not coming off the bench.
But as an Olympic team, if you go back to the dream team, the dude's coming off the bench. You had your 5 starters, and it's like I understand that point, Ray. I'm just saying, I think it could benefit the team a lot. And again, it'll be his 22nd year in the NBA.
21, 24, I'm 24, yeah,
22nd year. So it's like I'm not saying he's not athletically gifted. I'm not saying that. I'm not the hater that's saying he's lost a step. I just feel that who you have on the team, I just think there will be certain guys. If they were to come off the bench, I don't think it's a slight. That's how I look at it.
All right. So Danny, Megan made the comment. The rest of the world has caught up to us, and that's a phrase you hear a lot. Who's having the technical difficulties? Was it?
It might have been Megan.
Oh, it's definitely you, Danny.
I got my headset in, so
just turn it down.
Is this better?
Whatever you're doing, turn it down. Just turn it down.
Okay.
Yes. Much better.
Okay.
So yes, that's better. Megan made the comment. The world has caught up to, and that's a phrase that we hear a lot now, right? We hear the world has caught up to United States, or the world is catching up, right? So when you hear that phrase, your immediate thoughts?
It's correct. If you look, because the game is not the same game. The international game and the FIBA game is different than watching the NBA game on a regular basis. It's not like that the NBA players have to play their game. They have to adjust and adapt. So when the rest of the world is catching up, in an international sense, yes, FIBA rules are different. You have to play the ball off the rim. It's way more physical than the NBA game. The calls that NBA players don't happen in the European game. There's more fundamentals behind it. There's more strategy behind it. There's more basketball sense compared to what NBA guys are used to. So the free-flowing game that we see on this side of the pond doesn't happen on the other side. And so without having elite players over there, we tend to struggle in those moments. So yeah, Megan's right. The rest of the world is getting better, because what happens is European players can come over here and adapt to NBA players and NBA rules. The American players have a hard time catching up on that side. So in an international sense, yes. In the NBA sense, not so much.
How put yeah, you can get everybody on the screen. How do we arrive to they scored? Did they score? They scored. They scored. This is a game. How do we arrive at first off, I think that's a blatant overreaction, right? I think even with the success that overseas players have had in the NBA, when people say the world has caught up to the United States, right? What do we mean by that, right? What do we mean by they've caught up to the United States? Right?
I think it's some countries would be better, but you have to. I mean, you can say the world because of where they're at. I'm with you, Ray, because definitely not the whole as a whole. But with like Danny, I agree everything you said. Like with FIBA, and I mean, I know even guys like Luka and even Dirk used to say like not ripping on the NBA, but like the calls you get, the physicality of the game. Yeah, they're not tackling them. It's not like dude, tackle like basketball.
Listen, that's inconsequential, right? So, like just 2 weeks ago, the United States C players consider Austin Reeves is on the team, Bobby Portis, Kessler, Cam Johnson. When you think about the Dream Team or the Dream Team 2 or the Redeem Team, those guys have no business on the team. And up to 2 weeks ago, they hadn't lost a game.
And you saw what happened, right? Lithuania put the breeze to him. Canada put the pause to him. Ray, this has happened more than once.
Yeah, but we're talking about our C team. Like when you say the rest of the world is caught up to us. For starters,
okay, so let's look at it like this. We sent a better team over to the Olympics in 2020. What happened? They lost the first game to France. And if it wasn't for Kevin Durant,
and they still had bums on the team.
So a team that has Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, and Kevin Durant are bums with that team?
Who the rest of the team? I said we had bums on the team. Who the rest of the team, Danny?
Listen, you said it had all stars.
Answer my question. You said we sent bums. Should never be on the USA team.
Really?
Never.
Well, guess what? So guess what that turns into, Ray? That turns to a commitment issue. Because
we're talking about the world catching up with the United States. Right?
Why? When they've lost in the Olympics. It's not like it's the World Championships where the United States hasn't won since 2012. The Olympics, they've lost in it with NBA players over there. So when we sent our best, we can even go back to the Redeem team. We can go back to the Redeem team.
JaVale McGee was on the team, bro. Jeremy Grant was on the team. Chris Middleton.
We can go back.
Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson was playing major minutes, bro.
Guys weren't playing.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying, let's go back to 2008. Let's go back to 2008. In the gold medal game, weren't the United States in a dogfight with Spain in 2008?
Did they win?
If it wasn't for Kobe in 2008, they wouldn't have won the gold medal in 2008.
If my auntie
if it wasn't for Kobe, no way.
It'd be my uncle. If my auntie had nuts, she'd be my uncle.
They were in a game. The United States with 11 NBA All-Stars, 11. That team had the most NBA All-Stars game.
If we really keep it real, bro, like after what happened in 2004 and 6,
and don't forget 2002. Don't forget 2000 when they lost in the World Championships. In the United States, they got finished in ninth place with Paul Pierce and those guys.
Yeah, whatever that was, right? What they started doing was, hey, we're going to send some talented guys, but we're going to send some guys to do the dirty work, right? For example, Tayshaun Prince, Carlos Boozer. Come on, like, bro, like we haven't sent the 12 best players since
2008.
2000. We didn't send the 12 best in 2008.
We sent 11 NBA All-Stars in 2008.
I don't think we sent that. And listen, first off, they didn't lose the game.
That one didn't.
Your best argument is they were in a dogfight. They still didn't lose a game, right? And I don't think we sent our best. Michael Redd was on the team. Michael Redd?
Michael Redd was a multiple-time All-Star. What are we talking about here?
Bro, like, let's not act like Michael Redd is that, bro. Like,
so
Michael Redd's never been that. You know who's never went to the Olympics? Like, first off, Allen Iverson was on that team that lost. He didn't go back in 08. Tracy McGrady
they sent him back
on that team. Yeah, I'm saying, bro, like since the Dream Team, we've never sent our absolute best. And even when people talk about, like, okay, you look at the MVPs, all those dudes are scattered on different countries. Giannis, Embiid, Joker, they ain't on the same. There's not a single country that can match us in talent. Period. Not even close. It took Canada and that, like all the teams that just beat us. They sending their best guys. We sending
Canada didn't have all their best players. Canada didn't have their best player. Their best player was for Canada wasn't even playing.
Who are you talking about?
Jamal Murray, the best international player.
Stop that, bro. Stop that, man. Stop that.
Okay.
Jamal Murray ain't no Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Stop it.
In an international setting,
bro, in any setting, on a basketball court, Jamal Murray ain't no Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
If you watch, Ray, how much of the FIBA tournament did you watch?
Bro,
how much did you watch?
On any basketball court, Jamal
Answer my
Murray,
question.
Bro.
Answer my question. How much of the FIBA World Cup did you watch?
I watched enough of it.
You didn't answer my question. How much did you watch?
Of it, and I know enough of it. Enough of it. That's good enough. That's a good enough answer. You want me to tell you how many minutes I watched to know that Jamal Murray ain't no Shea Gilgeous-Alexander?
So if you watch international basketball,
NBA, a guy who just averaged 30 and 5 and 5 on
stop watching NBA. Look at it in an international sense. Stop looking at NBA sense because that's where you're going wrong with this.
No. Basketball is
because it's different. Because Dennis Schroeder just won the MVP. Dennis Schroeder just won the MVP of the World Cup.
You know why? Because his team won. That's how sports work. If they didn't win, it'd be somebody else. It'd be Ant-Man. Ant-Man. Listen, if the United States would have won, Ant-Man would have been the MVP. He ain't gonna get a single vote next year. He ain't gonna get a single vote. Right?
But that just tells you don't need to be the best player in the court. You have to be the best, the most talented player in the international setting. Once again,
bro, it's not,
Dennis Schroeder is a guy that had a hard time finding a job.
Bro, it's about who's there. It's about who's there.
So
Ant-Man ain't a top 15 player in the NBA, and he looked like the best player on that team. He ain't no Jason Tatum. He ain't no Devin Booker. He not Donovan Mitchell.
Nobody wanted to play this summer.
I understand that. So again, all that factors in. All that factors in. We can't just say people caught up with us because our guys ain't going.
So here's the question, right?
That's like saying Zach Wilson is the best quarterback on the Jets because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. No, the best one is hurt.
Right. With your point, so let's look at 2024. Let's look at the Olympics in 2024. If we don't send our best, we ain't winning. It's real simple. We not win if we don't send our best.
How does that change the narrative?
We have to send our best players to go take care of business. That's when the rest of the world catches up. We just can't send random NBA guys over there and expect to win.
But we've never been able to do that. We learned that in 2004.
That's when the saying of the best of the world has come catching up because
they're not catching us. They're not catching up. They can't beat our best. Their best can't beat our best.
We're never going to send our best, right? Our best will never go over there. Outside of 2008, when did we send our best team over there?
So, Danny, you're saying if we don't send our best, we don't win. What happens if we do send our best?
Right. We talked about this earlier today. The United States. If we send 9 of the top 12 players over there, we have the best shot of winning. The only problem is if Joel Embiid declares to be a French citizen, plays for the French, then we're all in trouble at that point.
We ain't in trouble. They're gonna get smoked.
Are you crazy?
They'll get smoked.
Have you looked at the French roster nowadays?
Smoked.
Have you looked at the French roster?
Smoked, bro. Y'all believe in Wimbiana so much, bro. Don't let that be too light, bro. Like, listen, man.
We're talking about the same French team that has everybody back from a team that lost by 5 points to the United States, and they get Joel Embiid.
Hold on, they lost by 5. They lost by 5 points to which United States team?
The team that they sent to the Olympics.
The Olympics or FIBA?
The Olympics.
Which Olympics? The one with Kevin Durant?
Tokyo.
The one with them bums I just named you? The one that had Keldon Johnson on the team? The one that had Keldon Johnson on the team?
The one that had Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard on the team, too.
It's 12 people on the team, and you naming 3 guys. We sending 3
They gave up 30 points to Evan Fournier in the first round of that tournament.
We're sending 3 or 4 top guys with a bunch of role players, and that's not our best.
We're sending a bunch of random NBA players to think we can walk over there and win this whole thing. Right. So we have to send our best.
Right. So
if France is
how does that change? MVP, how does that change? If we send our best, nobody's beating us.
We would have to. Ray, the point is, if LeBron James is going to commit to this thing, right? Mm-hmm. Which I don't think he's going to, because if you look at the timeline, the Olympics start at the end of July. If Bronny James declares for the NBA, his declaring with the NBA draft and NBA Summer League will interfere with the entire Team USA camp. This is not like it was in FIBA. There's an additional 3-week period. that they don't have.
First off, they don't need LeBron. They don't need him.
They're going to need Kevin Durant. And I don't know if Durant's going to do it. The real answer is that Steph Curry's going to say yes. If Steph Curry says yes, that's more important than LeBron saying yes. If Curry says yes, everybody else is in. If Curry says no, he's out.
Okay.
And they're in
I'm
trouble.
gonna give you the final word because we got to keep moving.
No, let the guest have the final word. He can have the final word.
Okay. All right, Danny, I'm gonna give you the final word on this, and then I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say really quick. I got to say this. Whenever the two of them get together and talk, it is truly an E.F. Hutton moment because the education that we all just got over the last 10, 15, whatever it was minutes, if y'all didn't learn something, you wasn't paying attention. That's all I'm going to say. But, Danny, I'm going to give you the final word on this, and then we got to keep it moving.
First off, Ray, and I love Ray. That's my guy. I love Ray to death. I love when we have a chance to go back and forth with this. But no, I think at the end of the day, we're looking at in less than 12 months at a time where the United States is going to have to send all the arms possible, something that we haven't done since 2008. And if we don't send our best players, this is possibly going to happen again. The rest of the world is starting to get better. Guys that weren't playing in the World Cup have already committed to playing in the Olympics. France is going to be better with Victor Wembanyama and potentially Joel Embiid and having all the NBA guys back. We saw what Canada's done. Serbia will get Nikola Jokic back, and they finished second in the tournament. Germany, as we all saw, is really talented and knows how to play a national game. We haven't talked about Slovenia. Australia, their teams are catching up. And if the United States doesn't really get their best players, the all-star guys, the elite players, to say yes, that's the problem. And Grant Hill's major job is to convince. Can he convince the Anthony Davises, the Kawhi Leonards, the Kyrie Irvings? Can he convince them to go back over there if LeBron James and or Steph Curry says no? Can we get the right team over there? Can we find enough shooting? Can we find enough rebounding, which we didn't have in FIBA? Those are the things they have to worry about. If we send our 12 best players, we should win this thing, and we should be winning by double digits. But we're not going to send our 12 best players. There's going to be something that happens nobody plays on. So
okay. All right, man. You can catch this, brother, all over, because if there is something analytical or if there is something sports, basketball, it doesn't matter, related, Danny Thompson damn sure has his hand on the pulse. Brother, I appreciate you. Here's what I will say. I am so excited for season 2 of this show to start back up because, Ray, when it does happen and you have Danny on, that again is going to be an instant classic. We will be back in a moment, but shout out to my man, the sports reporter without pay. Season 2, Ball Don't Lie. Y'all saw Ball Don't Lie season 2, sports reporter without pay. I mean, just a phenomenal show, man. It has the best of everything when it comes to what we do. It has the entertainment value, it has the education, and it definitely damn sure has the energy. So, all right, let's get to our last topic. And Mike, I was very surprised that I didn't get a thank you for doing this because I could have put anybody up there for San Francisco, but you see, I put your boy Brandon Ayuk up there, you know.
That's right, baby. I caught it and I was just like, oh. And in my head, I was like, see, Eric saw the greatness yesterday. Not even just the 2 touchdowns, the blocking downfield for McCaffrey, sprinting downfield, jacking it up. I mean, that second touchdown catch was, I mean, the first one, he was open-ish and Purdy delivered a strike. That second one, man, he just forks up, baby. You know, he's making plays, Eric.
So the question going into this season was, we talked about the AFC, and we know the AFC is stacked ranked from top to bottom of great teams. When you flip it over to the NFC, the 2 to 3 teams that everybody talked about were the the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys. Based on what you saw yesterday, Ray, do you feel that San Francisco is the top dog in the NFC right now?
Far and away, like far and away, right? And it's been that way for quite some time. Like it's pretty. It's not a out of bounds assessment to say that they very well could have been in the Super Bowl last year, right? Like we'll never know, right? Their quarterback literally just their third string quarterback couldn't throw the ball. Like they moved up in the draft, drafted a guy, and he's gone now. That's how much they believe in the system, right? It ain't about that guy. Okay, he wasn't the answer. We're gonna take Mr. Relevant, and he's our guy now. And they look just fine. Christian McCaffrey looks like Christian McCaffrey. Like that was a huge move last year for them to go get that guy who was in purgatory, right? And put him on a contending team with those weapons. I will say I have been so sick of hearing Brandon Ayuk's name for the last 3 years. Every time people talked about San Francisco, they talk about these weapons. They go, man, they got Debo, they got Kittle, they got Ayuk. And at the time, Ayuk hadn't really done nothing. It was just people just kept throwing his name out there. But the boy went off last night. He went off last night. See, but this is, hey, look, you see your face, Mike? I'm gonna show you my problem with Brandon Ayuk. It's comments like these. There. It's comments like these. It's why, like, and it's why I get so frustrated with guys who are supposed to be sports analysts. Like, so you're telling me in a league with Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, both the receivers in Philly, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, like Cooper Kupp, the list goes on and on. We're not doing that, man. Like, we're not doing that. We're not finna play this game like. And then he's the best receiver on the team. Deebo Samuel was looking like the best receiver in the NFL 2 seasons ago. Right? He became the gadget guy. He was all over the field. And like now it's like, oh, Brandon,
yeah, but hold on. But Ray, I will say this to your point. When we did our draft show, when Ayuk came into the league, Eric, where did I predict him to go? Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. I said it is perfect for what Shanahan wants to do.
That has no relevancy on what Ray's saying.
Yes, it actually has. But it has a lot of relevance because oh my God. Okay.
You're going off on like a side road.
Go ahead, John, because you know everything. You didn't watch Brandon Ayuk in college. You did not watch one down of his.
But it doesn't matter. That's not what Ray's saying.
Yes, it does matter. Because when Kyle Shanahan puts offenses together, when you talk to Niners scouts that are actually out at practices and out at games, and when you talk to scouts, yeah, they're not giving you all this crazy like insider information. Kyle Shanahan, that's a Niners, that's a Shanahan system receiver. Does he have the speed? Does he have the hands? Yes, you have to have that to get there. First of all. Secondly, when you look at that, people want to say top 10 receiver, great, don't care. Each year, he has become more and more involved in the offense. Yes. Does Deebo Samuel help that rate? I'm not going to say no. Of course Deebo does. But what have we said about George Kittle? Hasn't been healthy. Brandon Ayuk can flat out ball. So don't tell me it doesn't matter, John. You don't just walk in the street and say, oh, that guy's fast. He can play receiver. He was perfect for Kyle Shanahan. With what they had around him, he could develop, and he is developing. He's a freaking money receiver. End of sentence.
So let's play a game, Mike. Because this is kind of like the Cowboys thing. Like nobody said he wasn't good. A comment was made by Cortland. He said he's a top receiver, right? Let's play a game. You tell me yes or no. Brandon Ayuk better than? This is a Jeopardy question. Is Brandon Ayuk better than Justin Jefferson?
No.
Tyreek Hill?
He's a better route runner than Tyreek Hill.
Stop it.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Eric,
if we're not going to break down stuff like that, then that's fine. He's a better route runner.
I'm done playing the game. I'm done playing the game.
Okay. That's right. Because they never talked about great receivers throughout history.
You won the game.
What was Chris Carter known for? Chris Carter wasn't the fastest, but he ran the best routes. People talk about routes, but I know. In the NFL, to John, it doesn't matter. Running precise routes, being where the quarterback knows you're going to be, doesn't matter, right? Answer that question. Since I never answer questions, running phenomenal routes and putting yourself, if you're not the fastest, in front of guys, making catches, that doesn't matter?
I never said it didn't matter.
Oh, okay. So
Tyreek Hill.
Okay. I just want to make
continually
sure.
puts people in blenders. You know,
Tyreek
just
Hill,
routinely.
speed-wise, there's nobody faster than Tyreek Hill. I
He's-
give you that. And I'm
But
not
I
saying that
think
people
it's
can
more
keep
than
up with
that,
them.
Mike. Hold
He's
on.
not a
hold on,
one-trick
hold
pony
on.
like Randy.
I say he's one trick.
Okay. I think you're taking the literal sense of the word receiver. Okay. And listen, is Brandon Ayuk a top 10 receiver in the NFL right now? No, he is not. Clearly, I can name at least 12 other receivers who I feel are better than Brandon Ayuk. All right. In no particular order. I'm going to give you at least 10 to show you my point. And this is in no order. I'm not stack ranking 1 to 10. I'm just going off in my eyes. All right. So you've got Justin Jefferson. You've got Jamar Chase. You've got Devontae Smith. You've got A.J. Brown. You've got, in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, and I'm sure I'm going to get hell when I say this, but I am going to say his counterpart, Deebo Samuel. I'm also going to say Odell Beckham Jr. I'm also going to say Cooper Kupp. I'm also going to say T. Higgins. That's 8 right there. You want me to throw 2 more in there? Mike, I'll throw your guy in there, CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb is better than Brandon Ayuk. That's number 9. You want a 10th guy? Here's a 10th guy for you because I forgot about him because he's playing right now. Who got Diggs? Stephon. There's 10, in my opinion, who I feel are better than Brandon Ayuk right now, currently in the NFL. Okay? I could throw Keenan Allen in there.
Yeah.
I could throw Calvin Ridley is back. You can shake your head no all you want, Mike, but again, I'm giving you who I think personally are better, but also we could go back and look at the numbers and see where these guys stack rank themselves. Now, granted, Brandon Ayuk, excuse me, I don't mean to say his name wrong, has only been in the league for what, 2 seasons now?
This is 4th year.
Fourth year, excuse me. Okay, 4th year. So I would take the 4-year stat analyst, whatever, that the data that we have, put him up against those guys that I mentioned in just that 4 years. I'm not talking career. And I still feel like those guys are better. Oh, and Mike, by the way, I didn't even mention the one guy that you and I still say is a top receiver in this league, in DeAndre Hopkins.
Did we mention ASRB for the Lions? Like, did anybody mention him?
I
He's
did
a
not
hell
mention
of a lot better than Ayuk.
Amron St. Brown or his brother Equiminius.
Oh, excellent. Get out.
That's like that Antetokounmpo. It's like that Antetokounmpo, you know, being on Milwaukee. Like, he's just there because of his last name.
No. But my point is in what I think what Ray was trying to say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that right now we cannot classify Brandon Ayuk as a top 10 receiver in this league. Right now, we can't do it. Can that change? Of course it can, but not right now.
I mean,
so Cortland, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And for you to sit up there with a straight face, knowing that I have been personally left alone this whole conversation with regards to Philly, talking about Devontae Smith is not better than Ayuk, bruh, I'm going to come on the halftime show and prove you wrong on that one. So
that's a guy that's knocking. That's a guy that's knocking on the door of top 10. He's not there yet, but that's a guy right there. It's knocking on the top 10 because that guy can ball. He just doesn't get the credit because AJ
this is what's
Brown.
Happening. This is what's happening. Cortland Griffin is turning into the John Shear of like comments. He's just picking at me and poking the bear because he wants the Philly in me to come out. And I'm letting y'all know right now, this is football season. This is not basketball, baseball, or hockey. This is football season. You keep poking the bear and watch what happens. I'm going to pull a Ray Lynn on you. I'm going to stomp a mud hole in your ass and walk your drive with regards to Philadelphia.
You probably will.
Hey, Mike, seriously. And it happens in sports when we start debating. It's like, oh, if you say one guy's better than the other, then somehow we start trashing guys. Like, no, I don't. No, I'm talking about me. I'm talking us, the show, everybody, right? Like, we can go so far to one end of the spectrum. Like, we can say that Brandon Ayuk is good without saying he's top 10. Just like we can say he's not top 10 without saying he's trash. Like, but saying that man is top 10 is that's absurd to me. Like, it's absurd to me to say a guy who 4 years in the league has 1,000-yard season, and even the year he had 1,000, it was good for 22nd in the league. What makes him top 10? Like if we just go, just off his ability, he's capable. You got to put it on the field, right? Chris Carter ran great routes. He wasn't no TO. He wasn't no
last year.
Last
year was his first 1,000-yard season, and he's gone up every year.
Right.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying, it was perfect for Kyle Shanahan. When you talk to people and you're listening to scouts, like he was perfect for that system. Does Debo help that development? Yeah. If Kittle stays healthy, does he help that development? Absolutely. You still got to make plays, right?
And listen, we saw it last night. We're taking away from the fact that he balled out last night. That comment just threw me because, and it started with primetime Ryan Jones. Every season, Brandon Ayuk. And it's like, bro, stop mentioning that dude like he's that until he showed that he's that. Same thing we said about if Tua got to prove it, why Brandon Ayuk don't got to prove it, right? Like, are we gonna mention him with the likes of guys like Justin Jefferson? Like, do we see what Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill did?
The Jets are winning.
Yeah, well, Buffalo has the ball and they're driving. They need to kick a field goal to tie it. There's 10 seconds left.
Let's hope they miss.
Yep.
I hope they miss.
I might get one right.
That's gonna cost me like $700. That's gonna cost me $700 if Buffalo loses.
That's not my problem.
It's my problem, sir.
Not sorry.
Well, pregame their field goal kicker hit a 60-yarder.
That's pregame. We ain't worried about that. Anyhow, look, we gonna get out of here because we done had way too much fun tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what you can anticipate for the rest of the season up until the postseason and the Super Bowl, because this is my Christmas. The fact that every Monday night I get to spend it with these three guys, as well as the Queen of Hoop. The big guard was supposed to show up, but this brother's doing so much production work. Shout out to Danny Thompson for stopping by. Cortland, I'm definitely going to see you this week because you keep poking at a brother. It's going to come back to bite you. I'm going to tell you right now. But I cannot leave the show tonight without paying respect to the people that we lost on September 11th of 2001, 22 years ago. Unfortunately, our country came together and not under the best conditions. So we are going to end the show tonight with a 10-second pause and a moment of silence, remembering those people. We thank all of y'all, and we will see all of y'all next Monday. So for the Sports Reporter Without Pay, my man Ray Lynn, Forks Up ASU, and my brother of 16 years, Mike Harrison-Udo, and my dog, my man, John Shear, Sideline Sports, NFL Alum Media. We will see you guys next Monday night. Everybody stay blessed. We love y'all. Peace.